look, what I saw yesterday, definitely a lot of younger Australians taking part in Australia Day celebrations. So it seems like there has been this shift. What do you put it down to?
I think patriotism has become cool again. I think what we saw this year is a lot of Australian flags out in public, people putting them on their cars, people wearing them. You know, all those celebrations you mentioned yesterday, a real pride. And it's fantastic to see because I think the people who were pushing to change the date really felt that Gen Z, so that 18 to 34 age group, were going to be the engine room of this. They were going to propel it forward, not the younger, much younger or even older generations who perhaps will be more traditional. But I think young people are really on board with having a weekend and celebrating our fantastic country because they see it elsewhere. They see it in the US and they see it in the UK, and so why not have it here? So if that means a revival in patriotism, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with that. And look, I speak about how much I love America, how much I like other parts of the world, and I love Australia so much, and I'm so proud to be an Australian. We are so lucky to live here. A lot happening in politics down under. There's an expected leadership spill within the Liberal Party. Also that we're seeing this rise in support for One Nation. This week, Pauline Hanson, the leader of One Nation, posted on X, to celebrate the launch of a super progressive movie and Australia Day, we've put this fantastic film clip out today. When we phoned Holly Valance to write us a song for the movie, she instantly said yes. Let's just hear part of it.
I'm a real diabolical lefty, a real diabolical lefty. Ideology, feeding hate in me, I'll intimidate, I'll indoctrinate. I'm a real diabolical lefty, a real diabolical lefty. Check your bias at the door, liberty. We identify as MZV.
So this song has gone to number 2 on the Apple Music charts. Louise, feel free to comment on that film clip or not, but also the rise in support for One Nation. I'd like to hear your thoughts around what you put that down to and why we're seeing that.
I think Pauline Hanson is seeing something, or perhaps acknowledging something that the major parties aren't. That people are absolutely fed up with being told how to think and what to say and what causes to support. And you see these very minority groups who make a lot of noise and people think that's what the rest of Australia want, but it isn't. So, I mean, that's quite a crude and at times funny sort of film clip, but it's meant to be it's not meant to be targeting the inner city elites who will be, oh my God, Pauline's a disgrace. It's going after the Conservative voters who perhaps feel that the Liberals and now the demolished coalition, what do they offer them? They offer them chaos. They don't offer them a proper Conservative point of view, so they're drifting there. And I think the numbers, the threshold they've reached 22% in the primary vote is absolutely fascinating. The first time I believe a minor party has done this in Australia. So that gives them real power at the next federal election. And I know we've got a state election in New South Wales next year, and whether they run a candidate will be interesting to see, I think, because I don't think they've got one at the moment. But it's really showing that people feel that the major parties don't offer them anything, so they're willing to go and at least try and understand where Pauline is on certain issues.
Yeah, well, watch this space. Let's get to all the royal and entertainment news. Where do we start? There's so much happening. Maybe with Andrew, of course, disgraced former Prince Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson. They're said to be on a knife edge as they prepare to vacate Royal Lodge. What's the latest here?
So, yes, they're due out by Friday, although it's already the end of January. Yes, so Friday he has to go. He's moving to Marsh Farm, which is a new place in Sandringham. I note that it's not anywhere near London or nowhere near Windsor, which of course is Williams based, and obviously he's far away from Balmoral, which is where his brother likes to go as well, where Princess Anne likes to be as well. So I think it's the last vestige of his royal life, isn't it, turfing him out of Royal Lodge. Him and Fergie are supposed to be absolutely devastated. I don't think there's going to be a lot, if any, sympathy for them because they've kind of made their own bed, particularly in his case, his association with Epstein, etc. So it'll be interesting to see what his life holds. I still think he may end up in the UAE. I think in that environment, or maybe Spain, there's less concern about sort of royal scandal, and he'd still have some pretty cashed up chums there, I think, who may look after him. But also his daughters, of course, they're very guarded about being seen with him in public and even talking to him. So in a way, that's kind of the real crisis, the fact that, the two girls he thought he could probably lean on are now grown women with their own children and like, well, Dad, we're keeping at arm's length. So it's a real mess for both of them, I think.
Absolutely. Now, over the weekend, King Charles stepped out with his wife, Queen Camilla, to attend church on his Royal Sandringham estate, and he was also seen with Princess Anne.
He was. So the first time since Christmas, they were out together in public, and To me, this is really the soft power in action for the monarchy, isn't it? So the two most reliable members of the royal family, the king and his sister, the Princess Royal, out, you know, in Sandringham, they always go to Mass at the church when they're in residence. And the fact they've met the incoming new bishop as well, I thought was very interesting. It's really pushing a message of no matter what's happening on the world stage with the errant brother, they are the face of the monarchy, reliable, you know, predictable and hardworking. So, you know, that would have been a very strategic move, I think, having the two of them in public. And of course, Camilla chatting with Anne too as well to really sort of seal the reputation there.
And Princess Catherine, of course, after 2 years now of recovery following her shock cancer diagnosis, Princess Catherine is reportedly focusing on two major goals as she looks ahead to 2026 and beyond. What can we expect this year?
So, understandably, she's been battling cancer for 2 years and she's now in remission. She's back to full-time royal duties, which has been great to see. But I think her two goals of staying healthy and being ready, it really shows that the weight of the monarchy in the future is as much on her shoulders, I think, as it is on William's shoulders. And I think by the time he ascends to the throne, we'll be totally used to Catherine in public doing the royal functions and being there as an ambassador for the monarchy, because she's more or less doing the job anyway, sort of in waiting with him. She's out there and, you know, advocating for her causes, childcare, early childhood development, etc. The whole branding around the family is seamless, absolutely seamless. They've really struck the balance between public views of the children and giving some privacy, particularly George, to grow up in a normal sort of space. So I think, you know, she's played an absolute blinder on this. I think that the way she operates in public and the way the public sort of love her and adore her is, I mean, it's something that Meghan could really only dream of if she was still in that mindset.
Well, let's talk about Meghan Markle, because there are, of course, reports that Meghan's Netflix series may have been given the axe. Plenty of royal experts say that they're not surprised at all by that. What do you make of this? What are your predictions for Meghan?
Oh, look, I'm not surprised. I think Series 3 was really sort of, you know, drawing a long bow in a way. And I do feel in a way too that she hasn't really made the proper pivot. People still see her as a person whinging to Oprah with her husband. They still see her as a grievance person, and the memoir from the fallout from, you know, Harry's memoir, I think, is still reverberating through the family. So I also think just because you marry a prince doesn't mean you can become a lifestyle guru. She really thought in a way she could just sort of, you know, rock up and become the new Martha Stewart. And the problem is she's inauthentic, and people have to like you to want to go into your TV kitchen or your mate's kitchen or whatever it is. So she's just, she's dropped the ball there. And I think for the rest of the year there'll be a lot of spotlight on what her plans are, and will she come up with a strategy? Probably not. I think the game changer will be if she does go to the UK mid-year with Harry, because he's going out there for some pre-events for Invictus next year. So, look, if she does go, it could be an opportunity for her to, you know, ingratiate herself with the public. But
good luck.
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's no way back for her with the public. I
don't think so. I don't think they'd be happy to see her there. But we'll watch this space very closely. But of course, we have to get to this huge news and entertainment around the Beckhams and the fallout around that family. Victoria and David Beckham have now shared this message about memories with Brooklyn. This is kind of the first time Victoria has made public comments since her son's explosive rant on Instagram. Can you talk to us about the message from Victoria, and also I want to get your thoughts on the potential brand damage that this has done to the Beckham's brand? Yeah,
look, they're all both posting sort of nostalgic comments. You can see from that photograph there, you can see David's Brooklyn tattoo very clearly there on his back. And, you know, there's some lovely footage which was taken by the photographer at the time of Brooklyn running on set and spontaneously hugging his dad, which of course is what children do. And then Victoria's part of the hug as well. So, look, it's an opportunity, I think, for them to retreat in a way. I know that from dealing with the Beckhams and seeing what they do, that when there's a crisis, they go straight into brand management on steroids, really. And that's clearly what this is as well. They can't control what Brooklyn says about them, but they can control what they pump out on social media. And I thought that was interesting too, that Victoria was at Emma Bunton's 50th on the weekend, and she posed up with the Spice Girls. And the Spice Girls is Victoria's, you know, safety blanket. That was her peak of her career 30 years ago. No one can really, you know, criticise her for that, when there was always some sort of discussion about how good a singer she was. But as far as being a brand for Spice Girls, she was 100% on board with that. So to have the girls around her, or the women rather, around her and saying how much she loved it, and David chipping in and saying, oh, it was wonderful too. I think will do a lot to boost her confidence and hopefully turn the narrative more towards them. As will it destroy Brand Beckham, what Brooklyn's done? I don't think so. I think there's a lot of experience in papering over dramas. You know, we've got the issue with David and the alleged affair many, many years ago. They managed to survive that. So I think eventually Brooklyn will come to his senses and realise that he only has one mum and dad and one family. And although he's proving a point, there is a better way to do it. There's plenty of rich kids who leave the family situation and don't blow up the whole relationship. And I think if he's looking to Harry as a great example, he should be looking well away from that.
Look anywhere else. Do not look at Harry. I think we could all learn a lesson from that.
Absolutely.
Don't do a Brooklyn Beckham or a Prince Harry, please. But that, of course, may take some time. Louise Roberts, thank you so much for joining us.
Great to see you. Thank you.